Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters in Christ, I come before you today with a message that might challenge you, but it is one that needs to be heard. We live in a world where kindness is often praised, celebrated, and expected. And rightly so. The Bible teaches us to love one another, to show compassion, and to be merciful. But hear me now, not everyone deserves your kindness. I know that may sound harsh, but it is true. As followers of Christ, we are called to be wise in our relationships, to discern when to offer grace and when to protect our hearts. Kindness is a gift that should not be given recklessly or wasted on those who seek to harm us. Kindness is a gift not to be given recklessly. It is a virtue that holds great power. It can heal wounds, bring light into dark places, and soften the hardest heart. However, it is not something to be offered without consideration, nor should it be used carelessly. Like any precious gift, kindness should be given thoughtfully, with purpose, and with an understanding of its value. If we offer it without discernment, we risk devaluing it and allowing others to misuse it. When we think of kindness, we often imagine something simple: a smile, a helping hand, a kind word. These are beautiful gestures, but kindness goes deeper than surface-level acts. It involves understanding the person to whom you are extending it. It is an action of the heart, rooted in compassion, empathy, and a genuine desire to help or uplift others. But to offer this kind of kindness in a meaningful way, we must recognize its worth. The truth is, not everyone will treat our kindness with the same care. Some may take it for granted. Others may even exploit it. And when that happens, the kindness we offer can be diminished, leaving us disheartened or feeling used. Consider this: kindness, when offered recklessly, can be abused. There are those who will take advantage of your generosity without offering anything in return. They may see your kindness as a weakness or simply as a tool to get what they want. This does not mean that kindness itself is flawed, but that we must be mindful of where and how we extend it. If we offer kindness to everyone without discretion, it becomes easy for it to be drained from us, leaving us with nothing more to give. That is why we must approach kindness with wisdom. We must ask ourselves, is this person open to receiving kindness, or are they seeking to manipulate our goodwill for their own benefit? By being mindful of how we offer kindness, we ensure that it remains a powerful and valuable tool. When we give it, it should be because we truly care for someone, not because we expect something in return. It should be an act of grace, not obligation. If we give kindness with the wrong motives, it can lose its purity and authenticity. When we offer kindness recklessly, we risk turning it into something transactional, where the value of the gift is overshadowed by expectations or resentment. That's why kindness must be offered with care. It's a gift that should be reserved for those who will appreciate it and, when necessary, be safeguarded from those who might seek to manipulate it. Moreover, kindness is a reflection of our hearts. When we extend it thoughtfully, we demonstrate not only our compassion, but also our discernment. We show that we are wise in how we share our resources, whether it be time, energy, or emotion. Kindness that is given recklessly, on the other hand, can lead to burnout, frustration, and even a hardened heart. We must learn to balance the act of giving with the understanding that, like any gift, kindness needs to be treated with respect and given with intention. It is something that should be cherished and shared at the right time and place with the right people to make the greatest impact. Not everyone deserves your kindness. This statement may be difficult for some to accept, especially in a world that often promotes the idea of being kind to all. We are taught from a young age to love our neighbors, to show compassion, and to be good to everyone. But the reality is that not everyone will treat your kindness with the respect and gratitude it deserves. Some will take advantage of it, while others may even misuse it to harm you. It's important to recognize this truth and understand why kindness should be extended with discernment. Kindness is not meant to be a tool for manipulation or an invitation for others to take advantage of your goodwill. While the Bible teaches us to love others, it does not say that we should give ourselves to those who would use us for their own gain. There are individuals who will only seek out your kindness when it serves them. They may show no regard for your feelings, your time, or your well-being, yet they expect you to always be there, always offering kindness without any thought of your own needs. These are the people who drain you, who leave you exhausted and disheartened because they don't understand the value of the kindness you've given. In situations like this, kindness becomes a means for others to take without giving back. It's essential to set boundaries in these relationships. Not everyone deserves your time, energy, or emotional investment. You have the right to protect your heart and your peace. There will always be people who, whether consciously or unconsciously, do not appreciate what you do for them. And while we are called to love our enemies and show kindness to all, we are also called to be wise stewards of our time and resources. This means recognizing when kindness is being misused and when it's time to step back, even if it means disappointing someone. Sometimes people may not deserve your kindness simply because they have shown no effort to change or grow. You might encounter individuals who continue to make the same mistakes, who take advantage of your compassion without ever trying to better themselves or their situation. In these cases, kindness may only enable their negative behavior rather than encourage transformation. Offering kindness in these circumstances could prevent them from learning important lessons about accountability and responsibility. We must recognize when our kindness is actually hindering someone's growth rather than helping them. It's also important to note that not everyone is in a place to receive kindness in the way you intend. Some people are so caught up in their own struggles, pain, or pride that they may reject the kindness you offer, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Their inability to accept your love and care is not a reflection of your kindness, but rather their own inability to open their hearts to it. This does not mean you should stop being kind, but it does mean you should understand that some people may not be in a place to appreciate or reciprocate it. Discernment is essential in our relationships. Hope and discernment is essential in our relationship. It's not enough to simply be kind. We must also have the wisdom to understand when, where, and to whom we offer that kindness. Kindness, when offered with the wrong heart or to the wrong person, can be ineffective or even harmful. This is why discernment plays such a crucial role in how we navigate our relationships. Without discernment, kindness becomes a mere reflex, given without thought, and can be easily taken for granted or manipulated. Having discernment means recognizing that not everyone is deserving of your time, attention, and affection, regardless of how much you wish to help them. Sometimes our desire to be kind can blind us to the reality of the situation, causing us to extend ourselves to people who may not have the best intentions or who are not ready to receive help in a healthy way. There are people who will take advantage of your generosity, who will manipulate your kindness for their own gain, or who may not value what you offer. Discernment helps us see beyond the surface, to understand the true character of the people we interact with, and to recognize when our kindness is being misused. In relationships, discernment also means knowing when it is time to let go, when it is time to set boundaries, and when it is time to walk away. Sometimes we continue to give, even when it's clear that the other person is not reciprocating or appreciating our kindness. This can lead to frustration, resentment, and emotional exhaustion. Discernment allows us to see these patterns early so we can protect ourselves from being taken advantage of. It helps us recognize when a relationship has become toxic and when it is no longer healthy for us to continue offering kindness without expecting change. On the other hand, discernment also helps us identify those who truly need our kindness. There are people in our lives who might not outwardly ask for help, but who deeply need it. They may be struggling with hidden battles, mental health issues, personal pain, or challenges they are not ready to share. Discernment enables us to see these people and offer kindness in a way that is truly meaningful to them. It helps us understand the best way to approach a person, how to offer help without overwhelming them, and when to give them space to receive that help. Additionally, discernment gives us the wisdom to know that kindness is not always about giving material things or offering immediate solutions. Sometimes the most powerful form of kindness is simply listening, being present, or offering a word of encouragement. Discernment teaches us that kindness comes in many forms and that each person may need something different from us. It teaches us that kindness is not a one-size-fits-all approach, but rather it is a fluid and thoughtful act that requires attentiveness to the needs of others. Without discernment, we risk offering the wrong kind of kindness at the wrong time, or worse, offering nothing at all when it is truly needed. True discernment comes from a deep understanding of others and an awareness of our own limitations. It requires self-awareness and an openness to the guidance of God. As we seek to love and care for others, we must trust that He will provide the wisdom we need to offer kindness in a way that is both effective and protective of our hearts. Jesus Himself knew when to withhold trust and kindness. Throughout His life, Jesus demonstrated the perfect balance of love and wisdom, offering kindness and compassion to those who needed it most, while also recognizing when to step back from people who were not open to His message or who sought to manipulate His kindness. There were moments when Jesus withheld His trust, not because He was unkind, but because He understood the hearts of men. He was discerning about when to offer His time, energy, and love, and when it was necessary to withdraw, even from those who were close to Him. In the Gospel of John, we read that Jesus did not trust Himself to them because He knew all men. Jesus understood human nature. He saw beyond the surface-level actions of people and understood their true motives. He knew when someone's heart was open to change and when it was not. This kind of discernment allowed Him to give His kindness wisely, not indiscriminately. When we reflect on His example, we understand that kindness is not about blindly offering love to everyone, regardless of their intentions or ability to receive it. Rather, it is about understanding the heart of the person and responding appropriately with grace and wisdom. In the case of the Pharisees, for example, Jesus did not waste His energy on offering kindness that would change their hearts. They were intent on trapping Him, questioning His authority, and rejecting the very message He came to share. He did not extend His trust to them in the way He did with others who were open to learning from Him. Jesus knew that offering kindness in these circumstances would not lead to transformation. It would only open the door for further manipulation and deceit. In this way, He teaches us that there are times when it is better to hold back to protect ourselves from being taken advantage of and to avoid casting pearls before swine. At the same time, Jesus demonstrated immense kindness to those who were open to it. He welcomed the outcasts, healed the sick, forgave sinners, and showed love to the marginalized. For those who were broken, lost, or in need, His kindness knew no bounds. But even in these moments, His kindness was not reckless. It was purposeful. He did not offer His grace lightly, but with the understanding that true kindness could bring about true transformation. He extended His love with a clear understanding of the consequences it would bring, knowing that it would lead some to repentance and others to rejection. In the same way, we are called to be discerning in how we offer our kindness. It is not about withholding kindness out of bitterness or anger, but rather understanding that there are times when it is better to protect ourselves and others by not offering our hearts to those who are not ready for it. By following the example of Jesus, we can learn when to extend grace and when to step back, recognizing that our kindness is a precious gift that should be offered wisely and with love. Pray for wisdom to guide your actions. In a world full of complexities where relationships and situations are often layered with emotions, desires, and hidden motives, it can be difficult to navigate the right course of action. Kindness is an essential virtue, but it is not always easy to determine when, how, and to whom to offer it. This is why we must rely on prayer and seek the wisdom of God to guide our decisions. Wisdom is not simply knowledge or understanding. It is the ability to apply that knowledge in the right way, at the right time, and in the right context. It is God's wisdom that will lead us in our interactions with others, helping us to discern when to be kind, when to set boundaries, and when to walk away. When we face situations where our kindness may be tested, it's easy to act impulsively or out of a sense of obligation. Our emotions may drive us to give more than we should, to offer help when we feel guilty, or to continue investing in a relationship that is draining us. But this is where wisdom becomes crucial. Without God's wisdom, our actions can be misguided, causing us to overextend ourselves or give in ways that aren't healthy for us or for others. Wisdom, therefore, becomes the safeguard against making hasty decisions based solely on our emotions, pressures, or external expectations. In the book of James, we are reminded that If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach. This promise reminds us that God is not withholding wisdom from us, but that we must actively seek it. When we pray for wisdom, we are asking God to guide our hearts and minds, to help us see situations through His eyes, and to give us the discernment to act in a way that is pleasing to Him. Prayer becomes our way of aligning our will with His, ensuring that we are not guided by personal desires or fleeting emotions, but by His perfect wisdom. Praying for wisdom also means trusting in God's timing. Sometimes our kindness is a seed planted for future growth, and sometimes it is simply a momentary act that may not be immediately appreciated. In either case, wisdom helps us to understand that we may not always see the results of our kindness right away. There may be times when we feel that our efforts have been wasted, when the kindness we've extended goes unnoticed or unreciprocated. But wisdom reminds us that God sees all, and that the impact of our actions may not be immediately evident. Wisdom helps us trust that in His time, our kindness will bear fruit even if we never see it. Moreover, praying for wisdom helps us to be aware of our limitations. We are not called to be kind to everyone at the expense of our own well-being. Wisdom teaches us to recognize when we need rest, when we need to step back, and when we need to invest in ourselves so that we can continue to serve others. Sometimes wisdom calls us to protect our own hearts and to say no, even to requests that seem worthy or deserving. In these moments, we must remember that offering kindness to ourselves is just as important as offering it to others. When we pray for wisdom, we invite God into the decisions that shape our relationships and action. We are acknowledging that we do not have all the answers, and that in our human limitations, we need His divine guidance. With His wisdom, we can navigate life's challenges with confidence, knowing that our kindness, when given with discernment, will be a reflection of His love and grace. Even when undeserved, extend grace, but protect yourself. Grace is at the heart of kindness. It is the unmerited favor that we receive from God, and it is what we are called to offer to others, especially when they do not deserve it. Grace is not based on the actions or worthiness of the person receiving it, but on the love and mercy that we choose to extend. It is a reflection of God's unconditional love for us. However, offering grace does not mean we should disregard our own well-being or put ourselves in harm's way. Grace should always be extended with wisdom, understanding, and protection of our own hearts. There will be times when people hurt us, betray us, or take advantage of our kindness. In these moments, our natural reaction may be to withdraw, to stop being kind, or to harden our hearts against them. But grace challenges us to do the opposite. It calls us to forgive, to offer kindness, and to extend love even when it feels undeserved. This is not easy. It goes against our natural instincts to protect ourselves or to seek justice. But grace is not about justice. It is about mercy. It is about choosing to love and to give even when it is not reciprocated or appreciated. The Bible teaches us that God's grace is abundant, and it is through His grace that we are saved. We were once lost, unworthy of His love, yet He chose to extend grace to us through the sacrifice of His Son. Similarly, we are called to offer grace to others, even when they do not deserve it. However, offering grace is not the same as enabling harmful behavior or subjecting ourselves to further hurt. Grace is not about allowing others to walk all over us or taking abuse without standing up for ourselves. It is about offering forgiveness and love while still maintaining healthy boundaries. When we offer grace, it should come with wisdom and the understanding that our kindness should not be exploited. Protecting ourselves does not mean withholding grace, but it means recognizing when a situation is harmful and taking steps to safeguard our emotional, mental, and physical well-being. It is possible to forgive someone without continually putting ourselves in a position where we are vulnerable to further harm. Sometimes grace involves letting go of the need for the other person to change or to acknowledge their wrongdoing. It means choosing peace over bitterness, forgiveness over resentment, but also recognizing when it is necessary to step back or distance ourselves from unhealthy relationships. Furthermore, protecting ourselves while offering grace means knowing our limits. Grace is not an endless supply. It is a precious resource that we must manage carefully. If we give grace to everyone without considering our own needs, we may find ourselves drained, hurt, or emotionally exhausted. To continue offering grace in a healthy way, we must take care of ourselves. This includes setting boundaries, taking time for healing, and seeking support when needed. Grace is a gift, but it is also one that must be given thoughtfully and with an understanding that it does not come at the expense of our own peace or safety. In offering grace, we are not called to be doormats or to enable destructive behavior, but to reflect the love and mercy of Christ. Grace is about forgiveness, kindness, and love, but it is also about knowing when to say enough is enough and protecting ourselves from further harm. When we offer grace, we do so not out of obligation, but out of a desire to reflect the love of God, while also honoring our own worth and well-being. Boundaries are healthy limits that protect your peace. Setting boundaries is often misunderstood as being unkind or rigid, but in reality, boundaries are essential for maintaining emotional, mental, and physical well-being. They are not walls to shut people out, but guidelines for how we will engage with others and how we will protect our own hearts. Boundaries help us to define what is acceptable behavior and what is not, ensuring that we do not overextend ourselves or allow others to treat us in ways that cause harm. In the context of kindness, boundaries help us offer love and grace while still safeguarding our own peace. Without boundaries, we risk becoming overwhelmed and depleted. People may take advantage of our kindness, continually asking for our time, energy, or resources without giving anything in return. While kindness is a beautiful virtue, it is important to understand that it is not limitless. We are finite beings, and if we constantly give without any consideration for our own needs, we can become emotionally drained, frustrated, or even resentful. Setting boundaries is an act of self-care that ensures we have the strength to continue offering kindness to others without neglecting ourselves in the process. Setting boundaries allows us to clearly communicate our limits to others. It helps us to say no when we need to protect our time, and to prioritize what is truly important. It is not always easy to set boundaries, especially when we are used to saying yes to everyone, or when we fear disappointing others. But the truth is, we cannot be everything to everyone, and trying to do so will only lead to burnout. Healthy boundaries allow us to protect our energy, our peace of mind, and our emotional health. They help us maintain a sense of balance in our relationships, ensuring that we are not giving more than we can handle. In the context of kindness, boundaries help us avoid enabling destructive or unhealthy behavior. There are times when we may feel compelled to continue offering kindness to someone who consistently takes advantage of us or shows no appreciation for what we do. While we are called to love others, we are not called to allow others to abuse our kindness or to put ourselves in harm's way. Setting boundaries helps us recognize when a relationship is becoming unhealthy and when it is necessary to step back. It allows us to offer kindness in a way that is respectful of both our own well-being and the other person's needs. Additionally, boundaries help us recognize our own limitations. We cannot pour from an empty cup, and if we continually give without taking time for ourselves, we will eventually run dry. Setting boundaries means recognizing that we have the right to say no when we need to take time for rest and rejuvenation, and to protect our emotional space. It also means understanding that we are not obligated to meet every need or expectation placed on us. While we are called to love and serve others, we must also honor our own needs, and that requires setting clear and healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not about being selfish or unkind. They are about creating a balanced life that allows us to love others in a healthy, sustainable way. When we set boundaries, we are not rejecting people, but protecting ourselves so that we can continue to offer love and kindness without losing ourselves in the process. It is a way of ensuring that our kindness remains a gift, not an obligation. By setting healthy boundaries, we are better able to care for ourselves and others, giving from a place of strength rather than depletion. Recognizing your worth is crucial in knowing when to protect your kindness. Our society often teaches us to be selfless, to put others' needs above our own, and to sacrifice for the sake of others. While these principles have merit, they can also lead to a tendency to undervalue ourselves and our own needs. When we fail to recognize our worth, we can find ourselves in situations where we give more than we should, where we allow others to take advantage of us, or where we feel obligated to be kind and generous without regard for our own emotional, mental, or physical health. It is important to understand that true kindness starts with a healthy sense of self-worth. When we know our worth, we can approach relationships with a balanced perspective. We recognize that we have value and that our time, energy, and kindness are precious. This understanding allows us to give with discernment, knowing that not everyone deserves the level of kindness we are capable of offering. If we do not recognize our worth, we may feel compelled to give to everyone, regardless of whether they are worthy or whether they will appreciate our efforts. We may neglect our own needs or allow others to take more than is reasonable, all in the name of being kind or helpful. This can lead to exhaustion, resentment, and a diminished sense of self-worth. Knowing your worth means acknowledging that you are deserving of respect, love, and care just like anyone else. You are not obligated to give endlessly to people who do not recognize or value what you have to offer. When you recognize your own worth, you are better able to establish boundaries and protect yourself from being used or manipulated. You understand that your kindness is a precious gift and that it should not be given away indiscriminately. When you are confident in your value, you can approach each situation with a clear understanding of what is appropriate to give and when it is time to hold back. In relationships, recognizing your worth also helps you avoid unhealthy dynamics. There may be people who try to exploit your kindness, taking advantage of your willingness to help without ever offering anything in return. When you value yourself, you will not tolerate such behavior. You will recognize that your time and energy are not limitless, and you will make the choice to reserve them for those who truly value and respect you. This can be difficult, especially when we have a deep desire to help others. But it is important to remember that enabling unhealthy behavior only harms both you and the person you are trying to help. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to step back and protect yourself from further harm. Recognizing your worth also empowers you to make choices that align with your values and priorities. When you know who you are and what you stand for, you can make decisions that reflect your integrity and your boundaries. You will not be swayed by guilt or the pressure to meet others' expectations at the expense of your own well-being. By knowing your worth, you can give from a place of strength and love, rather than from a place of obligation or self-sacrifice. Ultimately, recognizing your worth is not about being selfish or unkind. It is about understanding that you are a valuable person with your own needs, desires, and limits. When you honor your own worth, you can offer your kindness in a way that is sustainable, healthy, and genuine. This enables you to continue giving without losing yourself in the process.